Imagine you are in the clinic. The overhead light clicks on, your patient sits back, and they ask you about a trendy new whitening paste they saw online. They want to know if it actually works, or if it is going to ruin their enamel. In the past, you might have fallen back on tradition. You might have said, "Well, we have always used this other brand," or "My professor told me to do it this way." But today, those justifications are no longer enough to meet the standard of care. The ability to find, judge, and apply reliable health information is a dentist's most powerful tool. Mastering the way you retrieve information is a high-stakes clinical skill. It directly impacts whether your patient leaves the chair with the best possible treatment. This evidence hierarchy shows not all information has equal reliability. The wide base, expert opinions, and case reports carries a high risk of bias. Next, observational studies monitor groups over time. At the peak, randomized controlled trials and systematic reviews provide the most objective, reliable conclusions. To find this high-level evidence, you will want to look in the 3 primary databases. First is PubMed, the Cochrane Library, and Google Scholar. Knowing exactly where a study sits on this pyramid tells you exactly how much trust you can place in its findings. Let's try searching for a real clinical question. For example, does fluoride varnish actually reduce cavities in adults? The PICO Framework translates broad questions into clean searches. P is patient, adults. I is intervention, fluoride varnish. C is comparison, no treatment. O is outcome, reduced cavities. Connect these using Boolean operators, and to narrow results, or to broaden them, not to exclude terms. It helps to start your search broadly. Once you see the initial results, use the database filters to narrow things down by publication date, language, or study type. Using the PICO framework transforms an overwhelming ocean of database results into a precise, targeted stream of usable evidence. Once you find a published article, your work isn't quite done. You still have to interrogate the source to make sure it is actually credible. This checklist shows the CRAP test, a simple method for evaluating any source. You check the currency of the publication, the relevance to your patient, the authority of the authors, the accuracy of the data, and the purpose behind the research. You also have to watch out for predatory journals. These are deceptive publishers that often skip quality control. Look out for red flags like missing author credentials or buttons demanding you pay a fee to be published rapidly. Legitimate science relies on peer review. It's a process where independent experts check research for flaws or errors before it is allowed to be published. While it is true that not everything on the internet is wrong, nothing should be assumed automatically right just because it looks professional. Rigorously applying the CRAP test is the only way to protect your professional reputation and keep your patients safe from junk science. Now, let's bring it back to the clinic. You have found the best evidence and verified the source. The final step is applying it to the person sitting in your chair. This Venn diagram represents the evidence-based dentistry triad. Good clinical decisions require a combination of the best research evidence and your own clinical expertise. But there is a third component, the patient's own values. You need all 3 to make the best treatment call. Reliable care depends on remembering that evidence has a hierarchy. Every source needs evaluation, and searching is a skill you will use for the rest of your career. You can start today by setting up a free PubMed account. It's the best way to keep these high-level studies at your fingertips as you move into clinical practice. Mastering evidence-based practice is an investment in your future clinical success. It builds trust with your patients and ensures the care you provide is always backed by the best possible science.